Hello and welcome to Look Who's Talking. And one of the nice things about being the host on a show like this is that you can invite as your guest people whose work you enjoy and admire. And for many years I've looked forward to meeting the man who is my guest today. He is one of the kindest and funniest men in show business. Would you join me in welcoming Mr. Chic Murray? Chic, lovely to see you. And I must say, Chic, looking as sartorially elegant as ever.
Thank you. I should have changed my socks. I know that. I know time. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Chic, you do have a very individual style in humour. Was this accidental or deliberate, or is this you just being you?
Pardon?
I don't think I can repeat that.
Oh, well,
Now, how did it develop for you?
I think in humour, well, humour is humour. The first books that my father gave me, he said he was my father, and I believed him at the time, were Mark Twain and an Irish humorist called Samuel Lovell. And that's, I was about 7-year-old there. That's what I cut my teeth on.
And did you go into...
I hesitated because I thought it was your turn again. That's sure.
Did you go into the entertainment business then at a very early age? Or not?
Yes, I played piano and guitar, and I had an act called Chic Murray and his Chicks when I was about 16, played piano.
Did you do comedy stuff then?
If you want to say that, yes, I did. Caused a bit of argument, of course, but I thought it was comedy.
What sort of places did you play in?
Well, we used to do, at that early age, I used to do a lot of, I was in great demand because I did most of my shows for nothing.
You grew out of that, though, didn't you, pretty rapidly?
Oh, yes, very rapidly. I realised that I could perhaps make a bob or two.
And from the days of the band, then, when did the sort of solo comedy work begin?
I'd say perhaps about, I was about 18, I was about on. I played with a very famous Scottish comedian, Tommy Morgan, in the Pavilion Glasgow in 1952. And that was my sort of debut, really, in sort of fairly big time. You want to say that? Well, I'm saying it. And I thought it was great to even play Glasgow. I never knew that I'd play anywhere else after that. And I was Chic and Mady at that time. Mady was a little blonde girl who I admired when I was 18, and she stood in front of me, and I never knew the words of any song. I let her sing most of it. I was very lazy professional, but it seemed to get over. And I remember when I changed my name to Chic Murray, I was making my way down the Pavilion stairs into Renfield Street in Glasgow, and there was a few people at the stage door, and I could hear them pointing to Mady as she made her way down and saying, "Oh, there's Chic," because she was smaller than what I was. And then I heard them saying, "There's big Mady at the back." And I thought, well. So that's what I went to the agent at that time and said, "I'm changing my name."
Sold,
"You can't."
sold the dress and everything, did you?
I wish I'd thought of that, you know.
Don't worry, you will. Somebody else said that, didn't they? Chic, can you remember the sort of humour of your first stage show? I mean, what sort of gags and routine were you doing?
Dreadful stuff. I used to wear a check cap. The only thing I ever wore was a cap. And I had a check cap which looked like a chessboard. It was in black and white. And I always remember Mady used to say to me, that's like a chessboard, isn't it, your cap? I said, "Yes, I'm very fond of chess." I said, "As a matter of fact," I said, "the stage manager," I said, nodding off to hoping he was there, which he never was usually, but I said, "The stage manager said, he's fond of chess too. As a matter of fact," I said, "I played him last night. I played him 12 games blindfolded." And she said, "What happened?" I said, "I lost every one."
Still gets a laugh, you see.
Well, there you are. It didn't, because the manager of the theatre came around and said, "What do you mean by that?"
This would be in the days when there were many, many more theatres than there are around these days.
Oh, I think so. But when I did sign for Delfont in 1956, the theatres were diminishing. I didn't know they were diminishing, but I realised that as we were all shut as I got better. But they were diminishing. I played every Moss tour, Newcastle Empire, Birmingham Hippodrome, all over, Bristol, everywhere. But they were diminishing because television was coming in, which I did my first television in 1956. But the theatres were diminishing then. I came in as they were going.
Was there anyone around at that time that you particularly admired as a humorist, as a comic?
Well, there are people around at the present time that I do admire as humorists and comics. I'm hesitating again because I think it's back to you. You know, I don't know what it's all about. Yes, there are. I admire. I think even in life itself, there are people who are humorous in comics. Life is humorous. Well, I think last week I made a way into a cafe to have a cup of tea or a coffee or whatever I fancied. I could change my mind on the moment, you know, as the waitress came up. But probably think I was going to have a cup of tea and then say I'll have a cup of coffee. You know, she didn't know that was changing my mind, but I knew I was changing my mind. You know. And just as I was having a cup of tea, someone came over to me. I didn't know him, but he was near me at the time, very close to me. He said, "Oh, by the way," he said, "I hope you don't mind me speaking to you." And I said, "No, I don't," because he was speaking at the time he was saying it. He said, "I admire you greatly." I said, "Pardon?" because I thought half the cafe hadn't heard what he'd said. He said, "I'm a tremendous admirer of yours." He said, "Could I join you in a cup of tea?" Well, I said, "If you think we both can slip in," I said. "Oh, there you go," he said, "quick as a flash." He had an impediment in his speech. I didn't mention it to him. He must have known he had it. He said, "I'm the local MP for hereabouts." Must be a district of the town. I said, "Yes, I'm the Labour MP," he said, "and it's great to meet someone like yourself." He said, "I've been along with, 10 days ago," I said, "I was with Harold, the leader of the opposition. You probably know who I mean." I said, "Yes, I do." He said, "Well, I was with Harold Shade," he said, 2 weeks ago. And he said, "You're showing no surprise at that." I said, "No, I'm not." He said, "I thought you would." Well, I said, "If I must show surprise, I thought his name was Harold Wilson." Well, he said, "It is and it isn't." He said, "Do you know what I mean?" I said, "Well, I heard what you said. It is and it isn't." "I don't know what you mean," I said. He said, "But the public and the papers naturally know him by Wilson, but his own name is Shade. Wilson's a blind." I said, "I thought Shade would have been a blind." Oh, he said, "There you go again, quick as a flash." He said, "Do you mind if I go on to something else?" Well, I said, "No, please do." He said, "Well, my brother," he said, "whom you don't know," he said, "was in a West End shop recently, in a second-hand shop. He peruses around a lot, and he found an old boot, a football, soccer boot, full of peppermint, dated 1871. He said, "I thought there was something wrong with this," he said, "because I don't think peppermint had been..." Well, anyway, he said, to cut a long story short, he said, "I sent it to someone who's in that particular business." I know what you mean about these squeaky chairs. I'm getting it myself. He said, and evidently peppermint was invented in 1542. He said, "I phoned another brother of mine," he said, "in Argyllshire, who immediately took off from Aldockley, which is an old RAF aerodrome, which is very seldom used, except maybe on landing or taking off. And my brother flew out," he said, "with this, just with a pocket radio." He said he flew out with this pocket radio just to keep him company, and he made for Rotterdam. And he tried to land at the docks, which was a bit foolish because there's no runway, there were all these cranes. And he struck something and he was catapulted out the plane, still with this pocket radio. And he went straight down the funnel of an Algerian tanker. But his timing was good his radio was playing Smoke Is in Your Eyes. Was it Whole Hot Time Again? That was it. That's it. Oh, that's...
Yes.
That's...
Yes.
Yes.
You, in addition to television work, you have done a colossal amount of radio work.
Oh, yes.
Chat shows, panel shows.
That's right.
And the Navy Lark, currently, I believe.
Yeah, I'm doing the Naval Lark currently. If you must bring that up as a reason. Yes.
How do you adapt between the sort of mediums in which you work? You know, stage, radio, television.
I've never really thought of it, Derek, how you adapt. It's just a case of it's your work. You become terribly used to it, and that's it.
But are you happier with your own material, or in the case of, say, the Navy
No,
Lark, where you're working from a script?
Well, when I'm happier is something which I wouldn't probably talk about here.
But you're quite happy with someone else's material?
Oh, I'm always happy with someone else. Oh, someone else's material. Oh, yes. No, I use it. Yes, I enjoy doing the Navy Lark. I play the part of Lieutenant Queeg.
What sort of a character is he?
He's Chic Murray, that's what he is, that's it.
So you have made him Chic Murray, you mean? Or was he intended to be?
Yes, he was intended to be Chic Murray, I'd imagine.
And you are also currently involved in the film?
Yeah, in the film
business.
industry, yes. Yeah.
What is the title of the most recent one?
The recent one is Confessions of a Door Salesman. It's a sort of sexy rom. It comes out in the autumn, I believe.
Well, we can't wait till the autumn, but we can wait for a couple of minutes. We'll take the break now, Chic, and we'll come back and continue the story of the career.
Very well. You come right in on that.
Yeah,
Good.
I thought so. We'll be back in 2 minutes. We'll have a tremendous outburst of applause at the start of this part, I think, eh, girls? All right.
Right, thank you.
And cheers of, you know.
VTR 1505, booking smoking part 2, take 1.
Hello?
Hello.
10 seconds.
Welcome back to Look Who's Talking, and our guest, Mr. Chic Murray. Chic, we've talked a bit about the stage and radio and films. What about your cabaret work? Do you prefer that to the others?
I enjoy cabaret work. It's more intimate. I do enjoy cabaret work. You're on the floor and your people are really near you. Yeah, I do enjoy cabaret.
Assuming then that...
What does that mean?
Let us imagine that this was a little cabaret floor.
Yes.
We have a fairly intimate little audience here.
Yes.
How would you approach the sort of breaking down and getting the chuckles from a very hostile mob like this?
I never thought of the breaking down process. It's a process which has never entered my head at any time, probably because I'm not as clever as the rest. So the breaking down process has never really entered my head. I usually just walk on and start. Like I walk into a car and I start. You know what I mean?
Could you illustrate at all that statement?
All right, probably could, I suppose. Last week I was making my way to the butcher's and I changed my mind because I felt this pain and I made my way into the doctor. I made my way into the waiting room. I didn't go into the surgery immediately because you've got to know the doctor fairly well before you force yourself into the surgery like that. There was a sort of, I sat down, there was a bench there, otherwise I never would have attempted it, of course. And there was other patients there, at least I presume there were patients, I didn't ask, I'm not a curious person, but I presume there were patients. Now I wonder what's wrong with her and what's wrong with her, and that's all you can do, you can just sit and look at each other, that's all you do in a waiting room. Sit and what's wrong with you and what's wrong with you. So after some time, the door of the waiting room opened, and I looked, just to give myself something to do. I've seen a door opening before. There was no novelty in it, I've seen it opening before. And someone came in, I wasn't surprised. And though there was ample room in the waiting room, he chose to sit beside me. I realized that as soon as he planked himself down. And he started speaking to me, this stranger. He started speaking to me about this and that, of which I know very little. He said, what do you think of this? Oh, I said, I don't think much of that. And I thought, if he comes out with a bag of toffees, I'm off. So, just as I was contemplating this, the door of the surgery opened, and the doctor made his way in. I didn't know it was the doctor, but this and that, he knew it was the doctor. He said, oh, it's the doctor, he said, with a quick nod, and the doctor, he was pleased, he nodded back, you know. Like the recognition, I suppose. And the doctor, he was wearing a kilt, probably a Scottish doctor, though you never know nowadays. He might have been doing it for a bet. It was a bit on the short side, you know. You didn't notice the kilt immediately. So he looked at us all, which is every right to do. It's his own waiting room. He can do what he likes. He had a quick butcher's all round, you know, and then he took a little run. And he stood in his hands, and he said, "How's that for a table lamp?" There was a certain amount of applause from probably panel patients or panel beaters, whoever they were. I didn't applaud, I laughed inwardly, which I'll never do again. I hurt myself, you know that. So when he got on his feet, because I had an idea he wouldn't be up there for long, because there must be a certain amount of time you can spend on your Germans, he said, who's next? And the rush for that door. I don't know how I managed to, just these elbows of mine just worked quickly. So he said, you're new here. I said, yes, hardly unwrapped, I said. He said, what is it? I said, I don't know. He said, that makes it difficult, he said. I like someone to know what it is, he said. It means I've got to go into that room at the back and look up that medical dictionary, he said. You could have anything. My lamps are bad, he said. What do you think it is? I said, I have no idea. I said, I got a pain, I said, about 6 inches above my head. Well, he said, I think I can cure that. He said, I'll give you something to take half an hour before you wake up, he said. How long has this been happening, this? I said, well, it's recurring and coming back again. He said, do you mean for quite, I said, oh, for quite a long time. He said, have you a war record? I said, yes, I have. He said, what is it? I said, it's Vera Lynn singing the White Cliffs of Dover. He said, I like that, he said. He said, I'll tell you what to do. He said, strip off. I said, pardon? He said, get your clothes off. I said, where'll I put them? He said, put them on top of mine. He said, I want to see you walk, he said. We can tell a lot from a walk, he said. If you walk, we'll tell a lot from a walk. Let me see you walk. So I walked. You turn nicely, he said. I had to turn, I was up against a wall. That's a great walk you've got, he said, a fabulous walk, he said. Have you been practicing? I said, no, I haven't. He said, it's the best walk we've had in the surgery this for about, 6 or 7 months. He says, I wish my partner were here. He's always out on these occasions, he said. What a walk, he said. That's great. I knew he was pleased the way he patted me. He missed me the second time. I shot my step. He said, I hope you don't mind. Oh, I said, feel free. He said, yeah, it's a great walk. The only one thing, he said, you're swaying a little in your walk. Do you know that? You sway a bit. I said, well, I didn't know that. Well, he said, it's difficult to look at yourself, he said, I must admit. But you're swaying a little. He said, it's not unseemly, he said. As a matter of fact, I quite like it. But he said, there's a sway there. I wonder what's causing that. He said, he'd been drinking any of that pansy wine. I said, no, I haven't. Maybe it's something you've eaten, he said. Maybe you've eaten something. It could be, cause the stomach a little, and you've got this sway. I said, well, what did you have last night, for example? I said, well, last night I had some peasant. I said, some roast peasant. Oh, I said, I don't think, roast peasant, he said. Well, he said, I'm a doctor, he said. I'm not a teacher of elocution, I'm a doctor of medicine, but I don't think it's been roast peasant. It's probably been a partridge. But I do walk very well. If I can get a full-length shot, I'll show you how I walk. A full-length shot. Look, I do walk. Look at that. Okay. There's a bit. I do walk well. And no wonder he was very pleased. So I said, he said to me, bend over, he said, I wasn't surprised at this, but it's silly, So I bent over, and just then the door of the surgery burst open. And I had positioned myself badly. I never thought a doorknob like that could, So I had a quick look between my legs to see who it was. Well, this huge fellow, built like a rugby three-quarter. So I got up very quickly. I said, doctor, I said, with a little gesture that surprised him. He said, don't call me doctor, he said. I feel we're on first names, he said. I would call me Lance. I said, well, Lance, I said, could you write me out a recipe or something? Which he did. And I made my way down to the local chemist. And I walked into the chemist. And I said, there's a pharmacist here. He said, no, I'm on duty myself. I'm just the chemist today. You'll do. I said, here you are. Oh, he said, a message from the front, he said. How did you manage to get through? I said, I came the back way. I said, have you been followed? I said, no, I don't think so. He said, you're due some pills. I said, some pills? He said, yes. Well, I put them in a box. I said, well, it'll save me rolling them all the way home.
Thank you very much indeed, Chic. We are running out of time.
Yes, you're speaking French, aren't you?
What can we expect to see of you, or where can we expect to see you in the future, apart from the films that are going to come out?
I've got some more Joker's Wilds to do, and I'm in a play with Michael Balfron and Thorley Walters and Charles Houston, where I play a part of a gangster all the way through. And it's called it was called The Gangsters originally. It's now changed to, I forget the name it's changed, but anyway, it comes out in about the autumn.
Sanctuary.
The Sanctuary, that's right. I mentioned it to you earlier.
You should really say Sanctuary much, Chef.
I think with you coming in with that line, I won't use it now.
The part of a gangster, was that difficult for you? Because you're a very cheerful character.
I found it great. I enjoyed working with Balfron and Walters very much indeed. Thorley Walters and Michael Balfron. I thought it was great.
And the Navy Lark, is that going on?
The Navy Lark comes out. I did that quite a few weeks ago. It comes out, I think, periodically from now on.
Have you got a particular ambition, Chic?
Well, yes, I have. I'd like to be a counterfeiter who was never found out,
Printing your own money?
If you want to say that, yes.
Or forging ahead, perhaps?
That I like, yes.
Chic, it has been a very great pleasure. Thank you for all the fun, I'm sure, on behalf of the audience and the viewers. Do come back and see us again.
Thank you very much to my Carlisle audience and to you for having me here. Thank you very much indeed, Derek, and to the excellent staff that I've met, and to all the people who have been so very hospitable since I've been here.
Ladies and gentlemen,
pleasure being your show.
Mr. Chic Murray. Chic,